Jerusalem Center for Bible Translators aims to obey the chief commandment in the Torah, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and sharing that message with the whole world. Now, the very first words of God to Abraham were, "In you all families of the earth will be blessed." The very last words when Jesus left from the Mount of Olives, repentance and forgiveness of sins are to be shared with all nations. And so that's the passion and the vision of the Jerusalem Center for Bible Translators.
Vous savez qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est un pressoir au vin. Mais c'est un pressoir au vin.
Today I was meeting the students from the Home for Bible Translators, and today we visited the Citta, which is a beautiful place located in the Judean mountains. We were talking about the land of milk and honey, the land of shepherds, where you have a lot of wild animals and where you have a lot of wild honey, wonderful for grazing. From then we went on to see how the turn of milk and honey turned into terraced agriculture land, which we named the land of the seven species, which is mentioned in Deuteronomy 8, the wheat and the barley and the vine and the fig and the pomegranate and the olive oil and the date honey. And then we went through the different trees and we discussed their importance. We also saw something very, very important, that if you want to live in an area like this, you need to make a cistern. Otherwise, there is no possibility to survive in this area. And so we saw an abandoned cistern. We actually saw an abandoned cistern. We talked about the cistern in the Bible, and again, of their use and the laws regarding it, and also some of the metaphors regarding the cistern, which is mentioned so many times in the Bible.
This semester, our 23rd year, we have 8 French-speaking West African Bible translators coming from 7 different countries, all of whom are married with families. They are pastors, they have MA degrees, and it's perhaps the most intensive semester we've ever offered. We've even had the joy of 4 teachers that we've flown in who either are Africans themselves or have lived many decades in Africa. But it's just been a joy. And over again, the teachers are saying what a joy it is to teach people with this level of motivation, as they desire to make a deeper impact than translating from English or other European languages into their mother tongues, but to translate from the original with experience in the land and create vivid and accurate translations.
We went to see a watchtower, and we were sitting in the watchtower reading something which very, very appropriate to the watchtower. We were reading Isaiah 5, and we were discussing this parable, talking about the relationship between God and his people, and then the farmer, a very disappointed farmer who is God, in the vineyard, and the vine that didn't produce the good grapes it was supposed to produce.
We have approached Bible translation agencies, of which there are a couple dozens, and informed them that the best possible way of creating Bible translations into the 7,000 languages that exist in the world is to allow the translators to learn the original Hebrew language and to tour and to study in the land of the Bible so they can see for themselves the things and experience for themselves the things that they're going to have to translate.
In my Bible translating mission, I see it's better to revise some translation we have done or some translation we have already. So we need to see clearly some aspect of the translation in order to show the real meaning of the words in the Bible.
We went on a kind of a lane where we tried to understand what happened to Bilam and his donkey, and why he was so frustrated and why he was so angry with his donkey. So we tried to dramatize it a little bit.
Et Balaam a vu l'ange.
Vois-moi, vois-moi. Vois-moi, Balaam.
This experience helped us to know exactly the Bible geography and in the next day how to think in our own culture and how to maybe we'll try to do it, to translate, to with the nature in our minds, and we will try to do it. It helps us.
And then finally we came to the village where we are right now. And in the village we saw how people actually live and how they were ingeniously drawing water out of the mountain and creating canals and creating tunnels, a wonderful pool where you can actually hear the people jumping into the water, and from there going on to irrigate gardens. So then we talked about what is actually a garden, what is the meaning of the garden. They saw it with their own eyes because they saw a garden is a place which is very, very dear. It is closed by a wall, irrigated by water that comes from a source of water.
We learn from the garden. We learn about the geographical milieu, and then we learn also about trees. We learn about agricultural seasons.
We continued on the way and we saw some very, very tall oak trees. And it's really quite amazing. How can we see so many very, very tall oak trees? Well, we talked about venerated trees. The trees were venerated in the Bible and still are today, and we have remnants of that still here in the Sataf. They wanted to know about everything, even about something which is very, very scratchy and thorny, and they wanted to know about it because the Bible talks about it. So they reminded me, you told us that you'll talk to us about it, and I did it. Now we understand it.
Et en hébreu, comment est-ce qu'on dit un pot en hébreu? Vous connaissez le nom? Sir.
We have learned many things like rivers, trees, hills, the desert. Then we know the meaning of these things now to translate it better in our language.
Well, what they say to me all the time is, now I understand it. So before that I didn't understand it. Now I do. Now I can see it. Yes. So the Bible becomes alive. There is no doubt about it.
Now that you've seen something of the work of the Jerusalem Center for Bible Translators, I'd like to summarize and talk about future plans. And in the summary, I need to add the fact that we have not only this 5-month semester intensive program, but for those who haven't been able to afford the time and money of coming to such a program, we have had now for about a decade short-term 2-week Land of the Bible programs. And that has proven to be extremely popular, so much so that we've offered it in 7 different languages, including sign language. And we, in a way, I could say, are suffering from our own popularity, and that's where you come in, because we need prayer. We're transitioning to younger leadership, to newer ideas of media exposure, and every one of you who hear these words of mine can be a prayer partner, because without that, of course, without the Lord's direction, it's a hopeless procedure. But with His direction, it's a so blessed experience that our students are having and reporting to us, and makes us encouraged to go on. And so please do pray, and then ask if the Lord is touching your heart to also help support a Bible translator.